Last year, we decided to look at the bylaws as part of our sort of rejuvenation. We have a new strategic plan, new mission, new vision, and we decided that looking at the bylaws would probably be a good idea. When we looked at the bylaws, we noticed that over time, there's been a lot of edits and changes throughout the years. They've become a little convoluted. Furthermore, as part of the Canadian Chamber of Commerce sent us some information regarding what the bylaws are required to have in order to be compliant with the Board of Trade Act. Something that a lot of members might not realize is that we're not technically governed by not-for-profit legislation or the Corporations Act. We're governed by the Board of Trade Act, which is a more archaic piece of legislation. It's got some particular requirements that you don't see in terms of what you'd expect bylaws for a not-for-profit to have. So we wanted to make sure that we were going to be compliant with the Board of Trade Act and at the same time, take the opportunity to modernize and sort of clean up some of the inconsistencies and stylistic concerns that we had with the existing bylaws. So it was a big project. The governance committee was formed in September of last year, and we've been working pretty hard for the last 8 or 9 months to come up with this draft that we have now. We started with the checklist that was given to us by the Canadian Chamber of Commerce, and we went through and made sure that we were hitting off all the check marks. And we found out pretty quickly there was actually a few things where we had sort of strayed from our legal requirements. So that was the first order of business, to clean those things up. Second order of business was to deal with inconsistencies. Over time, we found that our practice has actually strayed from what our bylaws said. So we wanted to make sure, of course, that we were going to be compliant with our bylaws in the way that we actually do business. Minor inconsistencies, but things still that we wanted to make sure we're covered and we're up to date and we're current. So a draft was first put together in the winter. The draft went to the committee with several weeks and months of revisions put forward by the various members of the committee. We then put the draft out for the entire board to review. That was another several months worth of comments and feedback from the board. So these have been looked at quite in depth by a lot of members of the board and the governance committee before they've now been made available to the members to look at. So we're hoping that between now and in the end of the summer, members who are interested in this sort of thing can take a look at the bylaws that have been posted on the website, come up with their questions, come up with any comments or concerns they may have, and there'll be an opportunity to voice those concerns and comments at a meeting of the members that we're going to hold in the fall to hopefully approve these new bylaws next year.